What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Micah Larson, the big brother Jared Larson, and the one, the only Scott Panza, here to bring you week two of week two of NFL. Scott going to kind of tell you what his strategies are going into this week, and Jared also. Couple things real quick. It's starting to make sense why Kraft really wanted Antonio Brown on the team, but we won't talk any further about that. Next up, Scott's favorite team to rip on, the Jets. Lost week one at home against the Bills despite having 4 turnovers. Sam Darnold out 2 weeks with mono. Could miss multiple.
Indefinitely. Yeah. Indefinite.
Bell has a shoulder MRI. I don't know. Has that come back yet? I know that was today.
It came back clean. He tweeted it out.
Okay. Williams missed practice with an ankle. Mosley missed practice with a groin. And then is it Ununwa? I can never get this guy's name right. Yeah, there's his name. Is out for the season with a neck injury. So really good week one for the Jets. Scotty, let's hear it. I want to hear you lay into him real good.
Rough time. And, Sam Darnold has an illness that you get freshman year of college. You're 22 years old. You're a pro football player. You're making millions of dollars. How are you getting mono? I'm really surprised by this. And thrust into the mix is now Trevor Siemian, who was just a blast to watch for the Denver Broncos. But actually, I think mine has probably moved a bit too much on this game, but I mean, just Jets fans. I was at a wedding this past weekend, and these are the most rabid Jets fans, and I kind of just feel bad for all of them that they got to go through all this. You have bad ownership, you have years of losing, and now you have a glimmer of hope because you think Adam Gase is going to be a good OC or a good head coach with a good offensive background, going to lead Sam Darnold, and then your season's over after week one because your quarterback gets mono. I mean, I just never heard of this. I'm just nervous, though, that they were playing the Bills, and it sounds like Cole Beasley was out with an illness today. I hope he didn't get mono. And then mono spreads around my Buffalo Bills, and the whole season's screwed for him. That would be no bueno.
Is Siemian an Orlando kid, or did he go to UCF?
He went to Olympia High School.
That's what it is.
Siemian?
Okay.
Yeah, I watched him play in high school. It was unbelievable.
That's what it is. Okay. Local connection to Trevor Siemian. This is not tweets are not an endorsement. He's not any good. I feel like there's some connective tissue.
Single-handedly, for the first time ever, beat Dr. Phillips High School. But that's when they had Nick Patty, D. Hart, and HaHa Clinton Dix, and Philip Amon, who was played linebacker at BYU. They had like 17 D1 athletes on that roster. But anyway, Jared, I know
that's talking Orlando high school football there for our national audience, indoctrinating you quickly into the local talent here in the city of Orlando. It's actually quite a bit. But, I saw the mono. I don't really even know what that means. Like what Scott said, I feel like that's something you get when you're like in school, but then you look and see that Sam Darnold's actually 22. You're like, oh, okay. I mean, he's in New York, he's making some money. Which is worse for you, Scott? Sam Darnold getting mono or Kyler Murray at the Oklahoma game on last Sunday night? And try and separate. Okay, I was just saying, try and separate that from Kyler Murray just piercing your heart with a knife on Sunday afternoon.
Jared, we're on to week 2.
Yeah, there you go.
On to week 2. And actually, I love the slate. There's, overreaction to week 1. There's some juicy lines, I think, and I'm excited to run it down with you guys.
Let's do it. I'm ready to get it.
Yeah, I'm going to do one last quick joke. I heard that Demaryius Thomas was carrying mono when Belichick traded him.
That was a good meme I saw on Twitter today.
Yep.
I liked it. Is that a meme? That's a meme.
That's right? A meme. Mm-hmm.
All right. I used the words right. Nice.
I'm old now. I don't know any of these things.
It's actually pronounced GIF, just in case you guys were wondering. But anyway.
I was wondering. I was never sure what the correct pronunciation was.
So we got the Bucks and the Panthers on the telly right now as it is 3-3 currently as we're recording. I know Scott was #Sazzies that there was a little bit of rain delay because I'm sure that means for him he won't be staying up watching this game. Did you guys play anything on this, or was it just like outside for fun? Because I know we have the rule on the show, no Thursday night games when it comes to really anything. So
Yeah, this was I actually only bet first half under just because I think the Tampa Bay offense stinks. I think the Panthers defense is pretty good and they're going to limit them. So I'm just going to sweat it out. The over-under is 24, and they're at 6 points right now with 2 minutes left in the first, and feel pretty good about it. Both drives stalled. One, the Panthers just stalled in the red zone, but I wouldn't play this game. Everyone was on the Panthers. If you held a gun to my head, I'd be on Tampa Bay +7, but I refuse to bet money on Jameis Winston. He does not deserve it.
Yep, I echo what Scott said. This is a classic overreaction from last week. It was Tampa Bay or pass, and based on what I've seen from Jameis Winston over his entire NFL career, I can't get to the window with him. That's really all there is to it. I'd have to see some really, really good numbers, and going on the road on a Thursday night is not enough of an indication for me to make a move. So, yeah, nothing for me.
That it just seemed like, and I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole that is Jameis Winston, but it felt like if this, at the start of the season, the chips were in place with Arians and Leftwich, that you just think to yourself, if he's going to become what he's capable of being, these are the two guys. You got a guru, and then you got one guy that played in the offense and was a very successful NFL quarterback. And it's just week one, you throw, 3 picks and look like absolute dog crap. No W's being eaten by him, strictly L's.
No, 0 W's. Yeah, I mean, I think they're teeing it up to say, all right, Arians is our guy. Jameis on the final year of his rookie deal. If this doesn't work out, I think they're going to let him go and then let Arians hire bring in whoever and hope it works that way.
Yeah. Will be interesting. So next game, getting into actual ones that are on the slate or playable for us. Jacksonville at home against Houston, -9 for the contest.
So -9
in Houston. In Houston.
Oh, sorry.
Houston's the favorite.
I went dyslexic. I apologize.
It's 9 in the Westgate and 8 in Circa. Give me the points all day, Jacksonville. So, projected at the beginning of the year, this spread would have been roughly Texans -3, 3.5. So I think just massive overreaction to the Foles injury, because Gardner Minshew looked pretty good. I know he's a rookie, but the secondary of the Texans, not all that strong. They just cut one of their starting corners this week, who was a disaster there. Their offensive line still really struggling. Laremy Tunsil gave up 3 sacks this past week. So the Jags defense, prideful group, just got humiliated at home. I expect them to bounce back type game. I don't think Jacksonville wins, but give me the points. It's way too many to lay. Week 2 in division.
I would say in a division game. Yeah, I agree with Scott. Jacksonville defense was embarrassed last week. I think you'll get a good effort from them. This is not a game that I'll be playing. It's Jacksonville or pass for me. I think now that there's some tape on Gardner Minshew, I'll be curious to see what that Houston front is able to do in terms of getting pressure on him. Since that game, his game plan is usually just like it was at Washington State, get it out of your hands quickly. Nick Foles tends to hold it a little longer in the pocket. So I think the Kansas City defense is not very good to begin with, but then you bring in a different style quarterback, he's probably going to have some success. A different style quarterback that you've not prepared for. So I'll be actually tuned into this game pretty closely to see what Garner looks like now that there's a little bit of tape on him. Because I agree with Scott. I was pretty impressed by what I saw in week 1. And if he can continue it into week 2, that's a team that I'll be looking to bet, because I think you'll get a lot of these types of numbers. 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yep.
I mean, give me those points with that defense all day and night.
So, I mean, everyone pretty impressed though with Deshaun Watson after week 1, or is it going to be the overhyped train week 1?
No, he's a stud. He's a stud. Hopkins stud. The issues aren't with Deshaun Watson, it's with his offensive line and
his
coaching staff.
Yeah, and the butt chin.
That's the problems.
Cleft the
Yeah,
boy
the butt
chin.
chin once again. Just another guy coming from the Patriots. You would think he wouldn't make these mistakes, especially Romeo Cannell, his defensive coordinator. You're just surprised to see these decisions on their end.
Mm-hmm. The game that I will be glued to my couch for, Minnesota traveling to Lambeau, -3 for Green Bay.
So this game will probably be a stay away from me just because the Packers are on extra rest. But I like the Vikings in this spot. I think this is a non-primetime game, which is where Kirk Cousins thrives. And
Away from home, though.
Away from home, while concerning, does not scare me away from betting the Vikings.
1 o'clock start, though.
The 1 o'clock start.
Hey, we tied there last year.
So their corners have had their corner has had success against Adams. Adams' name escapes me. And also the Packers have no run game to speak of. The Vikings defense looked great in week 1. But in division, tight game, I'm probably going to fade this one and just like Micah, be glued to my TV watching it.
Yep, no interest financially, quite a bit of interest personally. This game's always good. It was really good last year. I'm excited to see it. But three is the right number. That's
the efficiency of Aaron Rodgers week 1 was really concerning. If he can't really get it going, and they got to play a lot of tight games, I don't know if their defense is going to be able to carry them throughout the season.
It'll be, and Dalvin Cook, I think, looked really good week 1. So Xavier Rhodes, I think, is the name you're looking for.
That's exactly the name I was looking for.
I know he was a little banged up week 1, but I mean, went great against Julio. That defense is very scary, and I'm very excited to continue to watch them play. That's the recipe, though. No primetime games, and only let Kirk Cousins throw the ball 10 times.
No, I don't think I think he'll be throwing it a lot more than 10 times this weekend.
Yeah. Chargers on the road against the Motor City Kitties. Chargers favored on the road, -2.5.
So, the Chargers.
This number.
I know. It's so frustrating. This is a number that if I can get it at 3, I'd be jumping all over Detroit. The issues with the Chargers, they're traveling cross country, 1 o'clock start, tough for them. Offensive line depleted. Mike Williams not going to play. Hunter Henry hurt. So a ton of injuries. A team that historically starts slow. Against a defense that they haven't seen much of in previous years. So a lot of, unfamiliar with Patricia, I think could be an issue. I'm going to be on Detroit in some capacity this weekend. I'm just trying to decide how much. Their offense looked good at times, but when it came down to crunch time, Darren Bevell just fucking, excuse my language, but he pitched that game away so badly this past weekend, which makes it really frustrating to bet a team like this because they do have inept offensive coaching. But they have weapons. Stafford looked great. Their defense could really get on Eckler. I think this is a game that Detroit could surprise people and win. And plus, this number is a juicy number because people are going to be all over the Chargers and off the Lions. So it's under consideration. I'll be on the Lions in some capacity this weekend.
Yeah, they Kerryon Johnson. They did not run the ball hardly at all last week against Arizona, which I was floored by.
Arizona gave up 156 yards a game on the ground last year. I cannot believe they could not get the ball going on the ground.
Yeah, it was shocking to me how and not even that they couldn't get it going. I don't feel like they even gave it a chance to get it going. Like the attempts were just not there. This number reeks. I don't know that I trust Matt Patricia. I know that's going to hurt Scott's feelings because he comes from the tree of Belichick. But there were a couple things at the end of the game where they should have won. It should have been over, and the coaching cost them the opportunity and to win. And obviously they came out with a tie. But the West to East thing. The Chargers are notoriously poor for not playing well in those types of games. But I'll disagree a little bit. I could see this playing out a la Rams. Panthers last week, something very similar, but I do agree with Scott. This will be a heavy favorite in the contest. So a lot of my selection around if this winds up being a play for me in the contest, it'll probably be some type of game theory choice just as much as it is any X's and O's choice. But I will, no interest in terms of playing it on the side, but I'll keep everyone posted on whether or not this is a play.
So, Scott, I got a question for you. This is kind of a little unrelated from what we're talking right now, but not entirely. So we're talking Belichick trees and coaches. Do you claim Charlie Cheeseburger? Charlie Weiss? Do you claim him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. He was the OC on the first Super Bowl.
Okay,
I was just curious. The OC on the first 3 Super Bowls. He was OC. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I don't need to stand by his college record.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, he got paid in college, though, so that's all that matters. I think Kansas
He's living the
still paying
sweet
him.
life right now. I think he's.
I was going to say, I'd like to stand behind his bank account from coaching in college.
Next up, San Francisco traveling to the Sin City, Cincinnati, where everyone lives in Kentucky, and then travels into Cincinnati to work. Cincinnati -2 at home.
So, this is a game that I am befuddled because the spread has moved decidedly in the favor of the Bengals. But what I really like what the 49ers are doing is they're staying in Ohio to practice this week. So they're not going back cross country to travel back. They're in Ohio. And what I really like about those trips is that's a great bonding experience for the team. And this is a team that didn't play with Jimmy GQ last week, have a lot of new receivers. New running backs, like Breida and Mostert getting time with Jimmy GQ. I think it's really important for a team like this. Their defense showed out last week, partly because Jameis Winston just tossed the ball. But the concerning thing with the Bengals is they were all over the Seahawks last week. Dalton threw for over 400 yards. So this is a sneaky game. I think logically you should be on the Bengals and lay the points. But the lines move so much. I feel like this may be overreaction. People may be thinking, not realizing that San Fran is practicing in Ohio this week. This is turning into a stay away game for me. The line just reeks. I like the Niners, but the Bengals, they looked feisty last week, and I think Zach Taylor's a better coach than I was giving him credit for.
Yeah, I'm going to give me the Bungles in the contest, in the money. I took them last week. I'm going to take them again this week. The San Francisco 49ers will not be gifted 3 interceptions by Andy Dalton. And as a consequence, as Scott said, I don't think they'll be able to get the offense going. So they were really able to capitalize on the opportunities last week on, one, flipped fields, but also secondarily getting points off of those turnovers. So I like what the Bengals are doing. I think the defense is good. And candidly, as I said, this is an opportunity where you can buy low on a team, and I don't think the price has been too far gone in terms of what this is telling you is that on a neutral field, the Niners are 5 to 6 points better than the Bengals, and I just don't buy that.
I was not impressed with Jimmy G. I think I said that on the recap show, but I'm trying not to overreact too much to his performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dallas traveling to Washington. Dallas favored by -5. I feel like everyone's going to love this because week 1 you can definitely overreact to the Cowboys. I feel like, Scott, what do you think?
I think this is going to be one of the top 5 plays in the Super Contest for sure. Probably Circa as well. Everyone's going to be on the Cowboys. I'd be on the Skins. Case Keenum covers numbers, and this could be no different. They're going to have AP healthy, so maybe they can, or AP active. He was healthy last week, healthy scratch. But maybe they'll be making a more concerted effort to run the ball a little bit, and maybe their offense won't stall out so bad in the second half. They have some weapons there. Trey Quinn's legit, and Terry McLaurin. I'm sure I'm pronouncing his last name wrong. They looked like studs last week, and they got a ton of looks. Very interesting DFS plays for this weekend. I think massive overreaction to the Cowboys. I'll probably be on those Skins in some capacity in Circa this weekend. I'm not sure about Super Contest. There's other games I prefer.
Skins or pass.
Ooh, okay. Well, there you have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gross. I don't need to lay 5 points on the road with Ginger.
Dak out here trying to earn a new contract. He saw his boy get paid, true. So
he's going to get paid.
He is going to get paid. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Arizona traveling to Baltimore. Baltimore favored by 13. Overreaction, Scott?
Definite overreaction. When the season started, this game was probably like an 8.5 point spread all the way up to 13. The thing with the Cardinals, so I like the Cardinals in this spot. There's things I really like, and there's things that just frighten me. They gave up 155 yards on the ground last year. Their run defense has it got decidedly better in the year? Probably not. And last week, they just held them to less rushing for God knows what reason. Secondly, they're starting two corners, Patrick Peterson, the other guy, I can't think of his name. They're both out for this game. So maybe Lamar Jackson puts on another throwing performance. The thing with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, they're going to be battling, and backdoor covers so much in play in this game. It's just so juicy to take the Cardinals. If you take the Ravens in this one, I think you're just trying to light money on fire. So I think I will be on the Cards for sure. I like them in this spot, and just the 13 numbers is way too much for a team that is going to score points. And the Detroit Lions looked absolutely gassed in the fourth quarter. You're still early in the season. Conditioning's not there. They'll wear them down. They'll wear down the defense of the Ravens pretty well, and their pass rush doesn't scare me enough to offset the really bad offensive line of the Cards.
Yep. Give me Arizona. Overreaction from last week. I agree with Scott. The team's going to score points. You're getting them 2 touchdowns. That back door will be swinging wide open. And I don't expect the Cardinals to just lay down and die like the Dolphins did last week and probably will for the remainder of the season. So, plus, Scott, at least what I'm hearing is that Kyler Murray will be studying his playbook all week, so he'll be ready to go.
Good
no
point.
trips,
He won't
no trips
start
to
slow.
Norman. No trips to Norman this week. But yeah, give me definitely taking Arizona.
Seattle traveling to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh -4 after just getting walloped last week.
Blitzed.
Bet of the weekend. Favorite bet of the weekend. Steelers -4. Absolutely give it to me 100%. Andy Dalton just threw for over 400 yards against this secondary. I expect a bounce-back game from the Steelers, big time. Russell Wilson has never played in Pittsburgh. This is a tough environment to play, traveling cross-country, 1 o'clock start. Seattle just doesn't have a lot of weapons on offense. They're still trying to figure out who's going to be the pieces there. Steelers play with too much pride to get cooked, to lay another egg. Laying the floor all day, and it pains me to do against Russell Wilson, who I love. Steelers all day. Favorite bet of the weekend.
I also like the Steelers. They will be a selection for me this week. We're agreeing a lot. This makes me scared.
I'm getting nauseous.
I agree with what Scott said. I think what you will see, the largest statement from me will be how good the Patriots defense is once you see Big Ben carve up the Seattle secondary. I was very impressed with the New England defense last week, just as much as I was with the offense. But this is actually two completely incompetent coaches, Mike Tomlin and Pete Carroll, and their teams are loaded, so they win games. But I mean, some of the stuff that, I think John Murray, our buddy at the Westgate, always says kicking is for losers. Like Tomlin, they're down by 1 million and he's kicking field goals. Like, what are you doing? And then some of the poor play calling that I perpetually see from the Seahawks just causes me to go against them here. I think Steelers are a better team than the Seahawks right now at home. Heinz Field, in my opinion, is worth 4 points, and that pushes me to the Steelers.
This next line I find interesting because I think if this is week 3 of preseason, this team would be favored, and that's Indianapolis going to Tennessee. Tennessee -3 at home.
So Tennessee last year, after they absolutely carved up the Pats and had a big emotional win, they went to Indianapolis the next week and got absolutely torched. I think it was like 42-10, something absurd like that. I think I see something similar here from the Titans. They got up big time for the Browns. You know that the market is thinking, oh, wow, the Titans, they're really legit. I'd expect more line movement and a bigger line here. I think that a lot of money is going to be on the Titans. I think it's going to be a very public play this weekend. I'm all over the Colts. Jacoby Brissett looked pretty good last week. Their defense also looked pretty good. If they can establish the run and get after Mariota, whose offensive line is still banged up, and Tyler Lewin is still out for this game. Juicy spot for the Colts. Give me the 3.
Yeah, nothing for me. Division game, home team favored by 3. I agree with Scott. Situationally, not necessarily interested in the Titans based on a huge win last week. More about that on the College Pod, but no, nothing.
Do you think this line would be Colts favorite if number 12 were still playing quarterback?
Probably no.
No,
It'd be like
it's
1.
Yeah, it would be lower. Yeah.
Okay. Next up, nobody circles the wagon like the
Back to the
Buffalo
Meadowlands.
Bills.
So Sterling Shepard concussion protocol will be out for this game. I don't know who's playing at wide receiver for the Giants. Josh Allen and co are studs, so all they need to do is stop the run. They have a great defense. They limited Le'Veon Bell last weekend. The only concern is what is Evan Ingram going to do on them, because he is really, really good, and Eli Manning loves to torch him or loves to get the ball to him. But I'm laying the 2 all day. There's a lot to make of back-to-back road games, but they're playing in the same place, which is less than an hour flight away from Buffalo. This is an easy trip for the Bills. Their defense is too good. Lay the points. I know home dog, second week, blah, blah, blah. Buffalo Bills are going to the playoffs, guys. Buffalo Bills are going to the playoffs. Josh Allen is legit. Lay him.
Yeah, I'm with Scott. If we're on this wagon, let's get on. Let's circle them. They got to win the game. Giants stink. Eli sucks. Micah defends Eli Manning. I was waiting for you to come to the rescue.
No, I mean, look, it's death by 1,000 cuts. I mean, the guy is going to hit a check down for 10 light years, and it's just going to be brutal to watch the whole time. So,
Yeah, and I trust the Sean McDermott defense to bend.
Yeah.
Without breaking. I really like him as a coach.
That's a good,
obviously.
Jared. That's a very good football sentence. I'm proud of you for using that, because that's a big football guy sentence right there. Defense
don't
has
break,
to bend,
defense.
but don't break. Next up, had to read like this 3 times.
No one can tell that that's tongue in cheek. We got to fill in the listeners on that, because they're gonna think you're being nice to me.
You want to fill him in?
I just did.
There you go. Next up, I had to wash my eyes, reread this, put my contacts back in, read it again. Pats, minus 18.5. Clean out your ears. Pats, minus 18, 18.5 on the road in Miami.
19.5.
On the road in
market.
division, and you know that the public's going to hammer the Pats. And guess what? I'd be on them too.
Ooh.
I'd lay this number. The Dolphins are that bad. Now, I'm not telling people to go bet this number, but if you're saying that you have to bet a side in this game, you're laying the 18.5 points, especially if AB is playing and they want to show something. A lot of noise this week. They owe them one from last year. But there's been some instances where going to Miami, they've struggled there, but they've also threw up like a 52 spot in 2007 when they had Randy Moss and Wes Welker. Lay the number. I'm not taking the Dolphins. They are just too much in disarray. If you're going to bet a side, it's the Pats. You can't bet the Dolphins here. I don't care if it's square.
Nothing in the contest. If it gets to 21, I'll be playing the Dolphins. It's absurd.
Don't do it.
Three touchdowns in the NFL on the road in division. I mean, like literally check every box there is.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
Former defensive coordinator. I mean, all that.
It's like the
If it
clash.
gets to 21 points, give them to me.
It's a sweet tease, though.
Just plug your nose, do it.
Ugh. It's like I was wondering how this was going to shake out, because it's like the clash of two huge titans. You have the people who are going to, the Patriots never win in Miami, and then you got they got absolutely murdered last week, and they're trying to tank. So which of these two storylines is going to prevail in week 2 will be interesting. I think the public is going to believe that the Patriots are going to pull up and just put one on their back without them knowing. Next game.
There's going to be monsoons.
Well done, Micah.
Monsoons of money on the Patriots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you
Like Thailand level monsoons.
oh jeez.
It's been a couple years. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Jared on a roll with these.
I'm hot tonight.
Yeah, I feel like, see, Jared, my joke was edgy, but on
yours was
topic
very
of what we were talking about. You, on the other hand, just went right for it. So it's okay, though. I'll let it slide. Kansas City against the Raiders at Arrowhead. Or excuse me, no, in Oakland. Chiefs favored by 7.
I made the mistake of betting against Patrick Mahomes last week. I don't really want to do it again, and I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to lay the number because last year KC smoked them both times, and last year after the Raiders got their wins, they followed up with total eggs. And I think they got up for week 1. I think they're laying on an egg in the week 2. In the circuit contest, it's 6.5. I'll be all over that. I'll be laying the 6.5 for sure. Considering the 7 in the super contest, in division laying a touchdown though does give me slight pause. But I'm still short the Raiders. They showed me nothing by stomping Joe Flacco and Vic Fangio, who kicked field goal down 28-6, keeping it a 2-score game in the fourth quarter. So that showed me nothing other than the Broncos are worse than I thought.
I suppose we'll get to Denver here next, and I'll talk about that. There's a lot of agreement on this podcast this week. I also will be laying it definitely in Circa and most likely in the Super Contest. I have already bet this at 6.5. Give me KC all day. I think Scott hit it or alluded to it at least. Huge get-up game on Monday night for all the AB stuff goes down. They want to show the world, blah, blah, blah. Denver stinks. Joe Flacco sucks. And I think they lay an egg. I think Scott nailed that last year, had them down pretty well. And I think you're going to see a pretty big letdown from the Raiders. And if Patty Mahomes, our guy, can hang 40 on the Jags, what's he going to do to this Oakland defense?
Yeah, will be interesting to see. Obviously, I feel like the common sense has been in conference, on the road. So it'll be interesting to see what Patty Mahomes, if he's going to try and be cute and do these no-look passes. It's like, all right, man, you did it one time. It was cool. You don't have to do it every single time you throw the football. I'm not bitter
Oakland
about
looked pretty
it.
good last week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other part of it, too.
Anytime you get rid of a distraction like that, I feel like... Which apparently Gruden knew he was recording him and gave him the okay, so we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I feel like Gruden just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, sure, I didn't know, but I'll say I knew.
Because he's getting paid $100 million. And he's probably got
Chicago.
a slice of the team.
Yeah.
He doesn't give two shits.
The Bears traveling to Mile High to take on the Broncos. Chicago -2.5.
Cannot touch this game. Absolutely not. The Broncos at home in the first 2 weeks of the season since 2000 are 22-1. That's scary. But Joe Flacco starting at quarterback. I can't touch this game. Mitch Trubisky looked equally awful. The Denver pass rush couldn't get to Derek Carr at all last week, which is surprising for Von Miller and Bradley Chubb because they're supposed to be studs. Vic Fangio's coaching gives me so much pause for concern. I am staying far, far away from this. I think it will be very public to be on Denver for a lot of sharps. I cannot stomach betting on Joe Flacco. It's too frustrating. And Vic Fangio just coached against Mitch Trubisky for a full year. You have to assume he has a pretty good read on his tendencies. He should be able to coach up the defense. I can't do it. I can't touch either side. It's too frustrating.
Can't do it. Won't do it. I want winners.
Can't play with them.
People that want, yeah. Can't win with them. Can't win without them. Whatever the hell he says. That's a great interview. As I said last week, I'm looking for spots to fade Chicago. This is not one of them. Quarterback bites. Head coach is a moron. And that stuff pisses me off so much. I'm like, hire someone to tell you what to do, man. Or be like, hey, coach, if you kick this field goal, we're still down 2 touchdowns. Like, someone grow a pair of Keons, or not 2 touchdowns, 2 scores. Someone grow a pair of Keons or a brain and tell people what's going on. No play. Hard pass.
A little bit of rematch here now. We got Saints, Rams. Rams favored by 2.5. Do you think that the Saints have had this game circled for a little while?
Yeah, and I don't care.
Ooh.
Jared Goff, home splits last year, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 9 yards per attempt, 342 passing yards per game. Love it. Second favorite bet of the weekend. Rams lay the 2.5 points. Saints historically starting slow. I went against that last week. Stupidly bet on Alba. I don't think stupidly bet on them. They should have won that game by more than 2 points. Whatever. But love the Rams in this spot. They got their shake the cobwebs out of them last week against the Panthers. Now travel back home where they were a much better team. Saints going there where that turf is not so quick for them. I think a team that starts slow like they do, lay the 2.5 points, feel fantastic about it. Everyone's going to hop on this narrative like, oh my God, revenge game, whatever. Give me the Rams. Aqib Talib is healthy. Love it.
So, folks, Scott and I did not talk before this podcast about these games at all, but we're getting right back in the same boat. I'm on the Rams. I think this line is 2 to 2.5 points skinny, and I think it has to do precisely with what everyone's talking about, which is narrative that there's some type of revenge game, as if the Rams are just going to say, okay, we got clubbed in the Super Bowl, but we feel bad for you that we got a good call and got there, so we're just going to lay down at home. Like, no. Grass is going to be a little bit longer in the Coliseum. Offense of the Rams looked good last week. Confident that they can move the ball up and down the field. And I agree. I think, as I said, I think it's 2 to 2.5 points skinny. I was shocked to see this under 3 when it came out, and I will be on the Rams, front ways, sideways, and up every other ways. The Wonkavator. I'll be on them in the Wonkavator.
Oh, jeez. Is that the new
Boom,
slogan?
Micah.
Wonkavator?
Yeah,
I like
I might have. Is that
not
trademark though? Do I have to? Do we have to pay for that?
Intangies from Brad Miller. We got Scott feeling sadsies, and we got Jared on the Wonkavator. Wonkavator.
Yeah.
The glass elevator.
Yeah, all kinds of ways. I'm on them all kinds of ways on the Wonkavator.
There's no tell. Sorry, I'm not going to sing that song.
Yeah, it doesn't. Don't do that, please.
Eagles. We got the Battle of the Birds this week. Eagles at Atlanta. Eagles minus 1.5.
No surprise, Dirk Cutter still stinks as offensive coordinator of the Falcons. That seat is getting really hot under Dan Quinn's buttocks as the season progresses, laying the points all day with the Eagles. I love the Eagles. I love Carson Wentz. They got it going. Shook the cobwebs. Second time I used that today. Don't judge me. Shook the cobwebs last week. This team is going to torch the Falcons this weekend.
Ooh, all right, good. We finally got some disagreement. I was getting nervous there for a second. Like, we can't agree on every game. We're going like 0 for the card if that's the case. I think this is a very disrespectful line. Philly going back on the road, week 2, 2 road games in a row. It's traditionally a very tough spot for NFL teams in the Dome, night game. I think Atlanta's going to rise up and get the W.
Did you just use her? What's up, man?
I'm on fire tonight, Scott. I'm dropping them in from everywhere.
I like it. Well done. Well played.
Yeah. So we got the rise up dropping. I mean, that's impressive. So then,
Yeah, I've been working at my craft here, guys. Okay,
slowly but
taking
surely.
my job seriously. Yeah, 3 years later.
Yeah. Jared just felt bad because I pulled a quick one and had an elite reference during that Dolphins-Pats.
You did. I cannot deny it.
Yep. Browns at Jets. Somebody kill me. But there is a bit of an interesting play here, Scott. And so in the Super Contest, it's minus 2.5. Now that spread gets locked in before the news broke about Darnold. So, obviously, big shift in the line elsewhere. I know you two have been, when we kind of did a quick rundown, Jared's favorite thing before the show, You had
Where's
said
my
there was,
rundown?
there was something you wanted to talk about when it comes to this, certain plays. Let's hear it. The junkies want to know how you're going to go about it. Let's do it.
So this is a must not bet in Super Contest. Absolutely, because you're probably going to have 2,000 people on the Browns because of the line movement. Now, if you're playing to win the contest, these are games you have to fade that you know all the public's going to be on, because a massive swing game, if it's an L and the Jets come to play and cover that number, you're going to, and then you have to hope that your other bets, you gain on the rest of the field. So this is a must stay away in the Super Contest if you're planning to win it. Now in the gold, I'm considering playing it just because I may need to keep pace, and I fell behind pace in the first week. But even then, this is Greg Williams' revenge game. I'm not totally down on Trevor Siemian as the starting quarterback because he's done it in the past. So this is a stay away all day for the Browns. You can't bet them. Definitely not 2.5 in the Super Contest. 6.5 in Circa. I'll probably be on the Jets. I'm considering being on the Jets. Chuck that. They still concern me a little bit because Gase is not the greatest head coach. But this is a must stay away. And in real life betting, the line's just the overreaction is just ridiculous. You can't do anything with it. Maybe sprinkle something on the over.
Scott,
That's my opinion.
I thought you were going to go full Jets reference there and really send this to another atmosphere.
What did I
You
miss?
started off with, you play to win the game.
Yeah, that's what I was ready for.
Big, for those of you listening to
Missed
college football,
opportunities.
big Arizona State fans on this podcast.
Love
Big.
Herm, Singletary, all great interviews. So I wouldn't say I disagree with Scott on the thought process around how you're going to select these games, but I think, to Scott's point, you kind of can have one of two camps here. And I think this early in the season, if you feel good about the Browns' chances to win the game, I would bet it. Because I think we'll spitball the numbers here. Let's say that 70% of the field takes Cleveland, but then they don't cover. Obviously, that's a positive for you if you don't bet or if you bet the Jets. But I think it's still so early in the season that there's enough line value here that it would be worth playing because you're able to keep pace and then differentiate somewhere else later on down the line. So it's almost this, golfers say you can't win the tournament on Thursday, but you can lose it. I think there are situations early in the season where and I would advocate more so for the camp that, and this is where I say I don't necessarily fully disagree with him. I would certainly not advocate for betting the Jets at plus 2.5. I think it's Cleveland to kind of stick with the pack or don't play as your form of fading. But I think going fully to the other end of the spectrum and playing the Jets creates a situation where you're losing two games on the field. And that can be lose it on a proverbial Thursday here in week 2. So I think it's still too early in the season to be getting too crazy with stuff like that. I think if you feel good about the Cleveland's opportunity to win the actual game and cover the 2.5, then I would play it and just keep with the pack because wins are not easy to come by in this contest, as we discovered last week. And if you like that number, I would just go ahead and play it.
Great example. Last year, Houston, Monday Night Football against the Titans, and the line in the contest was 6.5. Texans minus 6.5. And then the news came out that Mariota was healthy and he was going to play. It moved all the way down to 3.5 in real markets. And it was the most bet on game that week. It was week 11, and the Texans won 34-17. And that was a game I remember we talked about a lot, and I was like, this is the last game I want to be on the Titans with all this news, and all the people are going to be on the Titans, and this is a big, if they lose, you can gain some ground, and that is my approach. That's my approach even in week 2. So that's what I'd advocate. I've heard both sides of the argument. I respect them. This is just how I would approach, especially in the Super Contest. Fade Browns hard.
But you're not betting the Jets in Super Contest.
In Super Contest, I'm not betting the Jets. No,
Right,
absolutely.
okay.
No,
Yeah.
no way.
I was going to say, so we agree there, advocating against actually playing the other side. It's either fade it altogether and just kind of, hope that you can gain a half a game effectively on the field that way.
Exactly.
That I'm with you.
Yeah. Ooh, Chris Godwin touchdown.
Yeah. So those are our games of the week. A little fun fact, and for those of you who are watching Thursday Night Football saw this, 8 new coaches began this NFL season. Week 1, they were a whopping 1-6-1.
Yeah. Wild. And there were such trends for that to happen and just ignored it.
That's what happens when you kick field goals.
Hey,
I know.
you think it's going to change, and then it's a year you don't think anything's going to change, and you go, this is a consistent thing. I'm going to stick with it. That it flips on its head. So, and that's why it's called gambling, not winning.
Exactly.
Oh, Jameis Winston quietly 11-14, 146 and a touchdown. Just wild.
It's in there.
Only 30 minutes.
I hate to admit it, but the guy has all the potential. But that is buried deep in there.
No interest. No interest.
Yeah, hard pass. Yeah.
Yeah, hard pass. So, those are the picks for this week, or at least our thoughts on each game, I should say. Picks will be announced on Saturday.
Sunday morning, we tweet them out.
That's right.
But yeah, they're released by the contest on Saturday, but we'll tweet them out Sunday morning. And if there's any last-minute thoughts, we'll certainly tweet them out. And definitely hit us up on Twitter. We're very active there.
Very active. Once again, that's at pigskin_junkies. Loving it. Even I can't remember who it was. I'd have to look it up. But even followed me on the personal account and was tweeting me about the games for Thursday night. And I said, we have a strict no Thursday night policy. Lots of crazy things can happen. You're seeing it unfold right before your eyes if you're watching this game. So, which you will be hearing this on Saturday, which is super exciting. So we hope you're having a great Saturday watching you some college football. But for myself, Michael Larson, the big brother, Jared Larson, and Scott Panza, we're out of here, junkies. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Later.
See ya.